Welcome into the Commanders Report. I am your host, Jack Sperry. On today's show, I'm going to be breaking down every single undrafted free agent that the Commanders have signed after the 2023 NFL Draft, plus 5 players that they're going to be bringing in for a rookie minicamp tryout. But before I get into those names today, make sure you click that subscribe button for free Commanders content here on YouTube every single day. You got to make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're going to have some great videos coming out here pretty soon, including the NFL schedule release that is set to come out on May 11th. So if you want to see my reaction to the Commanders schedule in 2023, click that subscribe button for me right now. All right, now let's get into some of the players that the Commanders have signed here in undrafted free agency. Brycen Tremayn out of Stanford, DJ Stirgus out of Missouri Western, Bowens, Nick Whiteside out of Saginaw Valley State. That is, I'm not even sure I've ever even heard of that college. Then you get Mitchell Tinsley out of Penn State, a wide receiver. Joshua Pryor out of Boise State. Then you got Kazmeir Allen, wide receiver out of UCLA. Xavier Henderson, a safety out of Michigan State. Kendall Smith, safety out of Illinois. Mason Brooks, offensive tackle from Ole Miss. Jalen Sample, wide receiver out of Minnesota State, Mankato. And then Brian Cobbs, wide receiver out of Utah State. And to finish things up here, Brad Roberts, running back out of Air Force. Chase Brice, a quarterback out of Appalachia State. Then you got Raymond Boone, cornerback out of Bowie State. And then you got Will Wallace, tight end out of Tulane. So it's a pretty long list here. The Commanders had quite a few spots to fill on their roster, and they definitely filled those spots quite a bit. We're going to be breaking down each prospect in totality here in just a second, but first make sure you go ahead and grade Washington's undrafted free agency class for 2023. What do you guys think of these players? Do any of these players stand out? Let me know in the comment section by giving me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so whenever you get an ad break here, go right up to the top of the comment section, find that pinned comment, and answer today's question. So not much is known about these prospects right now. I'm going to be going through these guys, pretty much just letting you guys know who the Commanders signed. Brycen Tremayn, wide receiver out of Stanford, a pretty productive player with the Cardinal. He wasn't quite as good as Michael Wilson, who got drafted this year, but he's somebody that 6'4", pretty big wide receiver. It's going to be interesting to see how he does in rookie minicamp here over the next couple of weeks. Our draft analyst, Tom Downey, did not have him ranked. Then you get into DJ Stirgus here, cornerback out of Missouri Western, which is a very small school. He won the Defensive Player of the Year award for small school NCAA schools. 6 foot, 204 pounds. I mean, if he won an award, I'm sure that he's pretty darn good. But once again, our draft analyst Tom Downey did not have him ranked in this year's NFL draft class. Then you go to wide receiver here, another wide receiver, Zion Bowens from Hawaii. Not much is known about Zion right now. I can't wait to break down his film a little bit here. He is a little bit smaller is what I will say, 5'11", just 182 pounds. Not ranked once again here by our Chat Sports draft analyst here, Tom Downey. Then you got Nick Whiteside, cornerback out of Saginaw Valley State, coming in here. Really don't know anything about this guy. Really the first time I'm hearing this guy's name. 6 foot, 197 pounds. Just another guy here that is just not ranked on the Chat Sports draft class big board this year. I'm going to be revealing my favorite player that the Commanders added here in undrafted free agency here in just a second. Can't wait to share that with you. But go to chatsports.com/Emmanuel Forbes to get your Emmanuel Forbes jersey, officially licensed stuff here on the Chat Sports website. Emmanuel Forbes, first round pick. Hopefully the cornerback one for the future for your Commanders. Right now, his number is going to be 13, so it would not be number 1. It would be a number 13 Emmanuel Forbes jersey. Go to chatsports.com/Emmanuel Forbes to get your jersey today. Now, my favorite undrafted free agent that the Commanders got, and I think he actually has a pretty good shot at making the team, is Mitchell Tinsley, wide receiver out of Penn State. I compared Mitchell Tinsley to Kendrick Bourne, plays with the Patriots, kind of a smaller guy, 6 foot, 199 pounds, but he compares very nicely with Kendrick Bourne's profile. And if you know anything about Kendrick Bourne, he's not the best player in the world, but he's definitely not the worst. He's a very solid pro. I think Mitchell Tinsley has the ability to do that. Tom Downey had him ranked number 34 on his big board, 239th overall. I think he's going to be a pretty decent player, and he has a shot to make the team. Then you go to Joshua Pryor, defensive line from Bowie State. Two players from Bowie State here for the Commanders. We'll get to the other one here in just a second. This one is the defensive lineman, Joshua Pryor. Then you got return specialist, kickoff return, punt return specialist, Kazmeir Allen, another guy that has a shot to make the team next year, 5'8", 183 pounds. He's really, really dynamic in the punt and special teams department. I really think that he's got a shot to impress some people in camp and make the 53-man roster with a good performance in minicamp and then, of course, during the preseason. Then you get a safety here in Xavier Henderson, adding to the secondary here out of Michigan State. Big Ten player, has played against some pretty darn good offenses, has played against like Ohio State, that sort of thing. 6'1", 203 pounds from Xavier Henderson. He was not ranked by Tom Downey in this year's draft class, so I'm not sure exactly what kind of player that you're getting in him. Then you got another safety in the Big Ten here with Illinois, Kendall Smith. Smith's teammates, Devin Witherspoon, Quan Martin was drafted by the Commanders here in round 2. Illinois, they do a really good job at coaching up their secondary players. You can see that with how many went so highly in this year's NFL draft class. You can see that with Kirby Joseph, Detroit Lions safety that was drafted last year. Kendall Smith, not ranked on Tom Downey's big board this year, but he's 6'1", 211 pounds. And if there's anything that I know about Illinois secondary players, they're coached very well, so it'll be interesting to see how he does in camp. So let me know right now, how many games do you think the Washington Commanders will win in 2023? They've made some very interesting moves over the course of free agency and in the draft. Did they get better? Did they get worse? Give me a total amount of games that you think the Commanders are going to win next season. All right, so now we're getting into the players that are coming in for tryouts here during rookie minicamp. Mason Brooks, offensive tackle out of Ole Miss. 6'5.5", 302 pounds, not ranked once again. Bringing in somebody here, hopefully he can show up to minicamp and during the preseason and show himself worthy of getting a roster spot. Then you get Jalen Sample here, wide receiver out of Minnesota State. Very productive receiver, Division II guy here from Minnesota Mankato. 6'3", almost 6'4" here, almost 200 pounds. Pretty darn big dude, not ranked on Tom Downey's big board, but he's got the production, he's got the size. It'll be interesting to see how he does going on into the next level here. Then you got Brian Cross, wide receiver from Brian Cobbs, my mistake, from Utah State. He's 6'10". Very, very tall receiver here. This guy could be a true red zone weapon here at the wide receiver position. Could even go potentially tight end. 206 pounds. Not ranked by Tom Downey this year on his big board, so it's not a surprise that he made it. Oh, no, he's 6'2", so we got the graphic wrong there. So he's not a massive human being. I was going to say 6'10" is kind of crazy. But then you go running back here, Brad Roberts. You can see him in that nice uniform right there, running back out of Air Force. Not much is known from my end on Brad Roberts, but it'll definitely be interesting to see. He's definitely going to be a high-character guy coming out of the military there. So let me know right now if you're excited for the Commanders football here in 2023, if you're excited for the schedule release, all that good stuff. Click that thumbs up icon, like this video. It's a free and easy way to help out the channel. So I really would appreciate it if you click that thumbs up icon for me right now. And I misspoke before. These next 5 players coming up here are the ones that are getting the tryouts. Those previous players I just mentioned, those were full signings. Chase Brice, quarterback out of Appalachia State. Pretty good size here, 6'2", 236 pounds, has got a lot of experience. Yeah, he played pretty darn well against Texas A&M last year. Was not ranked on Tom Downey's big board, but he's somebody that's a pretty interesting name. And I'm gonna keep a close eye here on Chase Brice because the Commanders didn't draft a quarterback this year, and this is the only guy that they're bringing in as an undrafted free agent. Could definitely earn himself a roster spot, potentially as a quarterback 3. Then you got Raymond Boone, another player from Bowie State here. This time a cornerback, defensive teammates with the player that we mentioned earlier. And, I don't really know much about Raymond Boone. They play at Bowie State, for God's sakes. But, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how he shakes out. Then you got Will Wallace, tight end out of Tulane. Interesting player. He's got some nice hair there. He's kind of looks like me, to be honest with you, man. 6'3", 250 pounds. He's just a bigger version of me, essentially, okay? Tom Downey did not have him ranked, however. It's going to be interesting to see how he does in minicamp, maybe earn himself a spot in the tight end room. Then you got Wesley McCormick, a cornerback prospect out of West Virginia. He went to the local pro day for the Washington Commanders. We're going to be getting his graphic up here in just a second. But apparently he went to the local pro day that the Washington Commanders had, and he impressed them. So he's a very we have no information on Wesley McCormick here at Chad Sports. We know nothing about him here, but apparently he went to the Commanders' local pro day. He impressed the coaching staff and all that sort of stuff. So he's getting a tryout here with the Commanders in rookie minicamp. So which Commanders undrafted free agent will have the best chance of making the 53-man roster? I think the kid from UCLA, and then also the kid from Penn State, the two wide receiver prospects they picked up. I think they're going to be pretty. They're going to have a pretty decent shot at making the roster. Particularly Mitchell Tinsley. I had him as a draftable prospect on my big board this year. I think he's going to be similar to a Kendrick Bourne, where he's going to be a very solid pro. He's a good route runner, so I think he has a pretty good shot. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. I appreciate every single real one that made it to the end of today's video. I really appreciate you. I'll see you guys later. Peace.